Hi everyone, it's Andrea here and I'm going to talk about one of my favourite book collecting habits, and that is film books. I love old Hollywood and old film stars, as you know because you've seen some of my hauls. I like books on Judy Garland and I like Rudolph Valentino, I like Jean Harlow, Clark Gable. I love all the old stars, but the main star I collect books on is Marilyn Monroe. Now, I started collecting Marilyn Monroe books back in 1990, which was 26 years ago. Yes, I'm that old. And in those days, there was about 70 or 80 books out maybe. And that's just in English. We're not talking about foreign language books in this video. And the only way you could get hold of those books pre-internet was by small ads in the papers and magazines, film magazines, second-hand bookshops and fan clubs. And that's where I started getting my second-hand books from. Some of the books I bought brand new, had them for birthdays, Christmas presents, etc. Now, I think today collecting books on Marilyn Monroe is a lot harder than it used to be because there are just so many. I myself have nearing 400 volumes. Some of them are duplicates, some of them are reissues with new information, some of them are foreign language. I have editions in French, in German, in Polish, in Japanese. Japanese books are absolutely gorgeous, so I love them. The photographs are brilliantly reproduced. So what I wanted to do is put together a video of books I think any new collector should get straight away or aspire to get, because some of these are quite expensive volumes. Now the cheapest book I've ever bought was I think 50p from a market in Hertfordshire, and that was for a book called Of Women in Their Elegance by Milton Green and Norman Mailer, and it's a fictional book which uses photographs of women by Milton Green, and Norman Mailer imagines he's Marilyn, basically. The most expensive book I've bought on Marilyn so far is the Titian Andrea Didier's book, which is absolutely stunning, and you will be seeing that one today. There is a cheaper volume version available, which we'll go into, because they have released it in a small box set and they have released it in individuals as well, which is really good. I had to have the big box. Now there is a few other books that are really expensive and that I don't have. I would really like, for instance, the Lawrence Schiller book is like £1,000, but it's beautiful, but I can only aspire to that. I can't afford that. It'd take me ages to save it, and there's so many other books I want that it's not really something I'm going to really go for. If I won some money on the lottery, yeah, but generally no. So for new fans, these are books I think that you should have on your bookshelves. These are the ones you should look to be getting, because there's so much out there. And so much of the information in some of the older books has now been revised, debunked, proved incorrect. Most of the books in this list are going to be pretty new. There are a few old ones, but most of them are brand new or within the last 5 or 10 years. Also, the internet is great for finding new books. You can go on eBay, Amazon, A-Books, that's just UK, The Works, The Book Depository, W. Smith, Waterstones, and there's loads of Marilyn books out there, second-hand and brand new. One of the downsides of the internet is internet publishing and self-publishing. I have got some books that have been self-published that are just horrendous, and I'll probably do another video on books you shouldn't buy or only buy if you want to collect all the volumes like I do. I have, like I said, nearly 400 or more than 400 volumes. There are poetry books, there are plays, there are fictional stories, as well as photo books, gallery guides, auction catalogues, the biographies and the photo books. Now I'll be giving you 30 titles in this list. 15 will be biographies and 15 will be photo books, although they do tend to overlap, obviously, because she was a model at part of her life. 15 because there are 10 essentials and there are 5 honourable mentions that I think you should get as well. So we're going to start with the biographies, and I'll just have to look at my little list. So we're going to start with biographies. The first biography I think is a must, and that is Marilyn Monroe, Private and Undisclosed by Michelle Morgan. That's this one. This is the first edition hardback that came out, and if I can get in there, it's signed because I know the author. I was there at the launch party, and a photograph I took is actually in this book. It is. It's very tiny though. You can barely see it. Can I find it? Can I find it? I don't know. Where is it? Is it in here? Where is it? It's a very small picture of her piano that I took at the Christie's auction when I went in 1999. I can't find it. It is. It's in here somewhere anyway. So yeah, this is a great biography which had at the time very rare photographs. You've got a nice little bookmark. This phrase, as you can see, but mine's in pretty good condition because I don't read it very often. Michelle Morgan used to run the fan club, Marilyn Society. She interviewed lots of people that knew Marilyn. This picture was never published before this book, and she got it from a friend of Marilyn's when she was still Norma Jean, named Bill Purcell. It's a great book. Only facts, no fiction, no conspiracy theories, no death theories. It's just 100%. This is Marilyn as far as we can ascertain from the facts that are out there. So there's no scandal, no gossip. There is stuff in here that's quite heartrending. For instance, she said to Bill Purcell at one point that she was so fed up of Hollywood, she was so fed up of being wanted just for her looks, that she wanted to throw acid in her face. Of course, the papers blew up about that, but it was just something she said in passing. She never would have done it. So that's my first must-have book. You must get this one. Now, second on the list of must-haves, and the stack is absolutely high, you can't see it, it's just over here, it's massive, is, there are actually 2 volumes, but this is book 1 and 2, so this is, you know, these are 2 separate volumes. And that's Icon, The Life, the Times and the Films of Marilyn Monroe by Gary Vitko-Rubeles. These came out last year and the year before. So this tells the story from 1926 to 1956. And again, it's all factual. There's stuff I didn't know in here. I've been collecting for 26 years. There is no photographs other than what's on the cover. It's all text. It is a must-have. It is one of the best books ever written. It is so in-depth. It is so concise. That many pages. Just on the first 30 years of her life. Get it. And you must get to go with it. Icon Volume 2. Look at this gorgeous picture from Something's Got to Give, her final film, the one she never finished. This says 1956, 1962 and beyond. So this goes up to her death and then carries on into her legend. I do understand that Gary has a 3rd volume planned, which will go into the legend in more depth, which I'm really, really excited about, because if it's anything like this, it's going to be great. And of course, you've got all the information about the death, the studio when she was fired, singing Happy Birthday to President Kennedy. It's all in there, but again, it's not scandalous. It's not this whole rubbish that people want you to believe about her. You must have it. Number 4, these aren't in any particular order, these are just the ones I think you should have, is My Story, and it's by Marilyn Monroe, as told to journalist Ben Hecht. This was released in 1974. The rights became the property of Milton Green. Yes, 1974, the year I was born. It is the same age as me. This is a 1st edition British copy. So it's Marilyn's own words as told to, so it was ghostwritten. But obviously it only goes up to like 1956 or 54 maybe, I'm not sure. But yeah, there have been several editions of this. If you can't get a 1st edition, there's a beautiful one with a gorgeous Milton Green cover on it. So that is another one you must have. Again, from somebody who knew her, though not as well as we would have liked her to, is My Sister Marilyn by Mona Miracle, which is her niece, and her half-sister Bernice Baker Miracle. Basically, her mother Gladys had 2 children before Norma Jean. She was divorced and they were living with the father. When Norma Jean was a teenager, she discovered that she had a half-sister named Bernice, and eventually she went to visit them. They lived in Tennessee? I don't know, it's been a long time. Kentucky. And then Bernice is actually still alive. She's older than Marilyn, she's still alive, she lives in Florida. And her niece Mona is still alive as well. So there's lots of lovely stories of when Norma Jean was a girl, a teenager, growing up to being a beautiful model, modelling stories, and stories about their mother, which is very interesting as well. Next on the list, this is actually the first book I ever bought on Marilyn, and it is Norma Jean, The Life and Death of Marilyn Monroe by Fred Lawrence Giles. This has been updated several times. This isn't the most up-to-date version, this is just the version I had, although I had it in paperback. I've now got it in a hardback, not good condition, but better than the condition of my paperback, which is the pictures are falling out of. And there's always more pictures in the hardback edition. So, and this was the first one. Again, alluded to the Kennedys in this book, but it wasn't an all-out conspiracy. It's a lovely written book. I read this in one sitting when I bought it. That's how good it is. Now I'm on 10 minutes, so I'm going to have to speed up a bit. The next book I think you must have in your collection is Fragments. Poems, Intimate Notes and Letters by Marilyn Monroe, edited by Stanley Buchtel and Bernard Comment. Basically, they actually reproduce her handwriting.